There is someone in your life right now who feels something significant for you, and they haven't said it, not because they don't want to, because the fear of saying it and getting it wrong is louder than the feeling itself. What we're covering today are 7 specific psychological reasons why someone who genuinely cares about you struggles to express it, and the specific behavioral signals that reveal what words haven't said yet. One of them involves a fear so fundamental that attachment researchers identify it as the primary barrier to genuine emotional expression in adults. Another involves a signal so subtle that most people miss it entirely, even though it happens right in front of them. And the climax, the 7th reason, is the deepest psychological truth about unexpressed feeling that most people carry their entire lives without understanding. Stay with me. Here is the honest premise. Genuine feeling, the real kind, not the surface kind, is almost never expressed the moment it develops. It builds quietly. It tests the environment for safety. It looks for evidence that the risk of expression is worth taking before it takes that risk. And in the meantime, it leaks. Through behavior, through attention, through the specific, consistent, revealing ways a person acts around someone who matters to them before they have found the courage to say so directly. Today, we decode those signals, and we talk about what to do when you recognize them, because recognition without response is its own kind of loss. 7 reasons, real psychology. Let's go. Bold claim. The most common reason someone with genuine feelings doesn't express them is not lack of courage. It is the specific, rational fear of losing something real in the pursuit of something more. Here is the psychology. Attachment theory identifies what researchers call the approach avoidance conflict, the psychological state that occurs when something is simultaneously deeply desired and genuinely threatening. The desire pulls toward expression. The fear of losing the existing connection pushes against it. For someone who genuinely values what already exists between you, the friendship, the working relationship, the casual connection that has quietly become significant, the stakes of expression feel asymmetric. If they say nothing, they keep what they have. If they say something and it isn't reciprocated, they risk losing everything. That calculation, made consciously or not, produces silence, not because the feeling isn't real, because the feeling is real enough to make the risk feel enormous. The behavioral signals this produces are specific. They invest in what already exists between you, maintaining and deepening the connection through consistent small gestures. They protect the relationship by being reliably present. They stay close as the current category of connection allows, without pushing past it. Scenario: a woman named Natalie had been building feelings for a man named Connor, a close friend of 4 years, for the better part of a year. She had said nothing, not because she doubted the feelings, because she doubted whether any outcome was worth risking what they already had. She told her sister, "If I tell him, and he doesn't feel the same way, I lose my closest friend. If I tell him and he does feel the same way, then I wonder why I waited so long. Either way, saying it changes everything, and I'm terrified of everything changing." The silence was not indifference. It was the specific paralysis of someone who valued what existed too much to risk it carelessly. What most men do wrong, they interpret this protective silence as friendship-only signal and use it as permission to move on, when it was actually the most careful expression of caring available to someone who hadn't yet found the courage for the direct one. What actually works, creating safety, not through grand declarations that put all the pressure on them, through consistent, warm, specific behavior that communicates, whatever you offer is welcome here. The existing connection is safe regardless. Bold claim: most unexpressed feelings are not waiting for courage, they are waiting for evidence. Specific, reliable evidence that expression won't be met with silence or worse. The vulnerability gap, documented extensively in Brené Brown's research on shame and courage, is the painful space between what we feel and what we are willing to express. That gap is not crossed by feeling more. It is crossed by accumulating enough evidence of safety to make the crossing feel survivable. When someone has genuine feelings for you, they are watching carefully for the specific signals that tell them whether what they feel has any chance of being met, whether you notice them specifically, whether your warmth toward them is different from your warmth toward others, whether being known by you is as safe as being near you feels. Every interaction becomes information. Every moment of specific attention from you either narrows the gap or widens it. Mini story. A woman named Sarah had been watching a man named David for 3 months, not obsessively, but with the specific attention of someone gathering data about whether a risk is worth taking. She told her friend, "I'm not going to say anything until I know whether there's something there, not because I'm playing games, because I can't afford to be wrong about this one." David, unaware of any of this, was simply being himself, warm when he saw her, occasionally specific in his attention, genuinely interested in her life. Sarah was reading all of it, storing it, building toward a threshold of certainty she could act from. What this means practically, the way you show up in ordinary, unremarkable interactions, the quality of attention you offer, the specific things you notice, the consistency of your warmth, is actively being read by someone who is deciding whether you are safe enough to be honest with. You may not know you're being evaluated. You are. Bold claim, someone who has genuine feelings for you and hasn't expressed them may be operating from a specific kind of caution that has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with what happened the last time they were this vulnerable with someone. Attachment psychology identifies earned security as a quality that develops in people who have experienced relational pain and done genuine work to process it. These people, who have loved and been hurt and rebuilt themselves, develop a specific kind of careful deliberateness about when and how they extend genuine feeling. They are not closed, they are careful. And careful, after genuine pain, looks a lot like silence to anyone who doesn't understand what preceded it. The behavioral signals are specific. They are warm but measured. They show genuine interest but don't rush. They create connection without immediately deepening it past the point they can safely retreat from. They give you access, incrementally, carefully, and watch what you do with each increment before offering the next. Scenario: a woman named Rachel, 44, had been through a divorce that taught her very specific things about the cost of loving someone who wasn't ready to be loved that way. Met a man named James at a mutual friend's gathering. She felt something immediately. She said nothing for 4 months. Her therapist asked why. "Because last time I felt this quickly, I spent 3 years recovering from what happened next. I'm not doing that again without being more certain." Her silence was not disinterest. It was the specific patience of someone who has learned that genuine feeling deserves more than impulsive expression. Bold claim, sometimes the most genuine feelings produce the most careful behavior because the person feeling them understands more clearly than anyone how much is at stake in the existing dynamic. Every relationship has a specific texture, a way of being together that has developed organically, that both people have come to rely on, that provides genuine comfort and genuine meaning. The person with unexpressed feelings often values that texture profoundly, and they are acutely aware that expressing those feelings will irrevocably change it, regardless of how it's received. If the feeling is reciprocated, the relationship becomes something different, perhaps something better, but undeniably something new, with its own uncertainties and its own risks. If the feeling isn't reciprocated, the existing texture is almost certainly damaged. The comfortable dynamic becomes complicated. The easy presence becomes careful. Either way, saying something changes things. And sometimes the person with genuine feelings decides, consciously or not, that protecting the existing something is worth the cost of silencing the potential more. Mini story. A man named Patrick had been carrying genuine feelings for a woman named Amy, his closest friend, for 6 years, for nearly 2 years. He had said nothing. His brother finally pushed him on it. "Why don't you just tell her?" Patrick said. "Because right now I get to talk to her every day. I get to be her person. If I tell her and she doesn't feel the same way, I lose that. Maybe forever. And I don't know if whatever might be on the other side is worth risking the thing I already have. That calculation, specific, honest, completely rational, is what genuine, unexpressed feeling often looks like from the inside. Bold claim: the person with genuine feelings for you is almost certainly already expressing them, just not in words. And if you don't know how to read the language they're using, you're missing a conversation that's been happening for months. This is the practical center of this entire video. Genuine feeling expresses itself through behavior long before it finds words, through the specific patterns of attention, care, and presence that we have covered in other videos on this channel, through the reach-outs that have no practical justification, through the remembering of small details, through the specific quality of listening that proves you are someone worth listening to carefully. But there are additional signals, specific to unexpressed feeling, that deserve their own attention. They find excuses to extend time with you, not dramatically, in small, deniable ways. The conversation that should have ended 10 minutes ago, but continues. The errand that could have been done alone, but becomes a shared one. They reference future time with you casually, small mentions of things that assume a continued shared future. Not grand plans, simple, natural, forward-facing references that reveal someone who is imagining you in their continued life. They become slightly more themselves around you over time, less managed, less performed, more willing to show you the unpolished, unguarded version because they have made a quiet decision that you are safe enough to be real with. These are not dramatic signals. They are consistent ones. And consistency is always the most honest language feeling speaks. Bold claim: the right moment to say a true thing almost never announces itself. And the person with genuine feelings for you may be indefinitely waiting for a certainty of timing that doesn't exist. This is one of the most human of all the reasons on this list, and one of the most costly. The brain, when managing high-stakes emotional decisions, tends to create conditions for postponement. Not yet. The timing isn't right. The circumstances aren't perfect. There will be a better moment. There is almost never a better moment. There is only the present one, with all its imperfection and uncertainty and complete absence of guarantee. The person carrying genuine feeling for you may be in this loop right now, holding something real, waiting for a moment that feels certain enough to act from, not finding it, carrying the feeling another week, another month. The Stoic principle here is Marcus Aurelius's most repeated instruction across the Meditations. Act now. Not impulsively, not without reflection, but with the understanding that the only moment available is the present one, that waiting for perfect circumstances is waiting for something that doesn't exist. This is the truth reveal, the deepest reason, the one that underlies everything else, and that most people have never had articulated clearly. Bold claim: the most profound reason someone with genuine feelings doesn't express them is this: as long as the feeling stays unspoken, it exists in a protected space, a space where it cannot be rejected, cannot be complicated, cannot be lost. The moment it becomes words, it becomes real, and real things can be taken away. This is what psychologists call anticipated loss aversion, the tendency to avoid actions that make potential loss more concrete. As long as the feeling is interior and private, it is safe. It cannot be rejected because it hasn't been offered. It cannot be lost because it hasn't been given. The moment of expression is the moment of genuine vulnerability, the crossing from the protected interior into the uncertain exterior. And for someone who has carried something significant, that crossing is one of the most frightening moments available in human experience. Mini story. A woman named Diana had been carrying genuine feelings for a man named Robert for 18 months. She had come close to saying something 4 times. Each time, something stopped her. Her therapist finally asked, "What are you afraid of specifically?" Diana was quiet for a long time. "I'm afraid that once I say it, it becomes a thing that exists between us. And things that exist between people can end. Right now, it's just mine. It's safe. It's certain. If I say it, it becomes something that depends on him too, and I can't control that. That vulnerability of releasing something from the protected interior into the uncertain space between two people is the deepest reason genuine feeling sometimes stays silent for far too long. And here is the truth underneath that truth. The feeling has always been real. The silence didn't protect it from being real. It only protected it from being shared. And shared is the only form in which feeling can actually become something. The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote, "It is not that I'm brave, it is that I know what matters." The man or woman who finally says the true thing, who crosses from the protected interior into the uncertain space between two people, is not brave because they feel no fear. They are brave because they have decided that what they feel is worth more than the safety of keeping it hidden. If you recognize someone in this video, someone in your life who has been showing you something real in every language available to them except words, the question worth sitting with is simple. Are you creating the conditions for that crossing? Are you making the uncertain space between you safe enough that what they're carrying has somewhere real to land? Because genuine feeling, held too long in silence, doesn't stay warm indefinitely. It needs somewhere to go. Here is the question I want to leave you with. Is there someone in your life right now whose behavior has been telling you something that their words haven't? Someone who reaches out without reason, who remembers what you said, who finds ways to be near you, who is more themselves around you than they are with anyone else. What are you going to do with that recognition? Not someday, now. Drop in the comments. Have you ever had someone carry genuine feelings for you that you missed entirely, only to find out later? Tell me what happened. I read every single one, and if today gave you something real to sit with, subscribe. Every week we bring this level of honest psychological depth to the questions that actually matter. See you in the next one.